Forget everything you thought you knew about ancient history. New research and forgotten texts point to a radical possibility. Egyptians, Mesopotamians, Greeks, and Mesoamerican priests didn't just sleep through storms. They trained the sleeping mind to receive visions during tempests, a state some scholars and scientists might call storm sleep. By the end of this video, you'll hear evidence that storms themselves may have been tools of knowledge, healing, and memory for entire civilizations. We live in a world that frames storms as weather to be endured or headlines to scroll past. But what if, for millennia, storms were far more than meteorology? What if the thunder and rain were instruments, environmental states harnessed by ritual specialists who deliberately guided sleep toward revelation? In this film, we follow the trail from ancient sanctuaries and clay tablets to modern neuroscience and acoustics. We will ask a single question: could a recurring, storm-fueled sleep state, a storm sleep, explain some of the extraordinary insights, cures, and songs that appear across modern cultures? Imagine lying on stone in a dark sanctuary as the sky outside breaks open. Wind rips at reed roofs, thunder rolls as if the world itself were speaking. Inside, incense smolders, the voice of a priest recites ritual formulas, and someone is guided into sleep, not ordinary slumber, but a framed experience meant to be received. Ancient people called this practice many names: incubation, temple sleep, divinely given dreams. It was not casual, it was institutional. People came hoping to be taught, healed, or spoken to, and storms were sometimes the context in which those experiences imprinted most strongly. Across continents, storm gods and dream messengers appear together. In the Fertile Crescent, clay tablets preserve dream reports and oniromanic guides, records showing that dreams were a recognized channel for prophecy and instruction. In the Mediterranean, the cult of Asclepius, the healer god, built entire sanctuaries where supplicants slept in anticipation of a god-sent dream. In Egypt, dream manuals and temple prescriptions indicate similar practices. In later northern traditions, poems and sagas pair thunder and vision. The gods speak through tempests. The repeating pattern is striking. Storms and dreams are often treated as two halves of the same encounter. These patterns force historians to ask whether the association was purely symbolic, metaphorical language for divine anger or favor, or whether people experienced an actual altered state during storms that made dreams more vivid, directive, and socially authoritative. If storms did more than symbolize the gods, how did communities intentionally use them? The archaeological and textual traces point to practices that look strikingly deliberate. First, sacred spaces for sleeping. The Asclepia of the Greek world were pilgrimage hospitals and sanctuaries where the ill performed rites and then spent nights in designated rooms, waiting for a healing dream. The practice was ritualized: offerings, prayers, and sometimes staged sensory conditions prepared the sleeper for a visitation. Second, sound, architecture, and resonance. Many ancient sacred sites, both open and enclosed, show acoustic properties that affect how sound behaves. Chambers with stone reverberation, underground hypogea with low-frequency resonance, and labyrinthine corridors that amplify or muffle sound could all amplify environmental noises like thunder or make human voices vibrate in unusual ways. These acoustic effects can deepen immersion and heighten emotional responses. Third, botanical aids and pharmacology. Ancient healers deployed herbs and preparations to soothe, stimulate, or alter perception, from sedatives used to induce heavy sleep to aromatic plants that sharpen dream recall. Evidence suggests that substances such as opium derivatives and other botanical soporifics appear in medical papyri and pharmacological lists across the Mediterranean and Near East. These were sometimes incorporated into ritual healing regimens. This is not to equate ritual with intoxication. Rather, it points to careful, often medicinal, use of plant compounds in contexts designed to alter consciousness. Layer these together: ritual framing, built resonance, chemical aids, and an external storm, and you have a reproducible context that pushes sleep toward certain states: vivid hypnagogia, intense dreams, or trance. For many cultures, that combination was a tool for healing, prophecy, and binding social meaning. Stories are compelling. But can modern science map a plausible mechanism for storm sleep? The short answer is yes. There are several plausible pathways where natural rhythms interact with brain physiology to shift sleep and dream experience. First, storms generate low-frequency acoustic energy. Thunder, the collapse of charged regions in clouds. Vortex dynamics and large convective systems emit energy in the infrasonic and low-frequency ranges. Specialized meteorological and acoustical studies have documented that severe storms and tornadic systems produce measurable infrasound and acoustic signatures that can travel long distances. These are not just loud booms, they are low, slow pressure waves that a human body can register in multiple ways. Second, infrasound and low-frequency vibrations can affect human physiology and perception. Clinical and experimental literature shows that exposure to low-frequency sound, even when below conscious hearing thresholds, can influence autonomic nervous system responses, sleep quality, and feelings of presence or unease. In some studies, infrasound correlates with reports of chills, goose flesh, and unexplained anxiety. In others, it affects sleep architecture and cardiovascular parameters. The mechanisms are still being studied, but vestibular and limbic pathways, the parts of the brain wired for balance, emotion, and memory, are likely mediators. Third, pattern auditory stimulation can entrain brain rhythms during sleep. Neuroscientists have shown that precisely timed auditory pulses can enhance slow waves in deep non-REM sleep and improve memory consolidation. Closed-loop auditory stimulation, timed with endogenous slow oscillations, enhances the function of those waves, suggesting that external rhythmic patterns can reshape sleep physiology. If natural rhythms, like rain or the repetitive rumble of thunder, fall into tempo ranges compatible with brain oscillations, they could plausibly bias which sleep stages dominate and therefore alter dream quality or memory processing. Put simply, storms produce low rhythms, bodies and brains are sensitive to low rhythms. External rhythm coupled with ritual framing could push sleepers into sleep states where dreams are intensify, recalled, and taken seriously by the community. We can trace the idea of storm sleep from multiple converging lines of evidence: archaeology, texts, physiology, and controlled lab work. Clay tablets from Mesopotamia record dreams, dream moments, and treatment protocols that reference divine messages appearing in sleep. Biblical and Near Eastern narratives contain examples of incubation-like practices, and classical Greek sources describe ritualized temple sleep in detail. The distribution and longevity of these reports suggest a durable, cross-cultural phenomenon. People intentionally sought guidance through sleep in sacred contexts. Modern archaeoacoustic research finds that many ritual spaces produce resonances and low frequencies that could alter perception, whether intentional design or serendipitous effect. The consequence is the same. Certain places sound different in a way that could make dreams and ritual experiences feel more real or authoritative. Controlled experiments show that external auditory inputs timed to sleep rhythms can change brain waves and memory outcomes. Targeted techniques that influence sleep onset can boost creative problem solving. Recent sleep neuroscience specifically shows that structured pre-sleep priming or auditory stimulation can direct dream content and memory processing. All of this suggests that external environmental rhythms, including natural storms, could exert similar influences, especially when combined with ritual intent and communal expectation. Contemporary studies of infrasound document that people sometimes experience feelings of awe, presence, or fear when exposed to low frequencies, sensations that ancient cultures often attributed to the gods. If a thunderstorm produced such sensations intermittently during a night of ritual, the result could be experiences framed as divine communication. Think of storm sleep as a multi-factor ritual ecology. The ingredients are context and expectation, environment, storm energy, physiological priming, neural entraining, and social reinforcement. Each ingredient magnifies the others. Combined, they produce the powerful, culturally consequential experiences recorded in texts. Why did so many societies invest in these practices? There are practical gains: medical utility, knowledge transmission, authority and cohesion, and cultural resilience. The idea of borrowing ancient practices for modern well-being is attractive, but it requires caution. Still, there are safe, ethical elements we can adapt. Soundscapes, incubation practice, architectural awareness, and avoiding dangerous practices. If your goal is insight or creativity, a safer, modern storm sleep ritual could look like this: set a problem or intention before bed. Play a professionally mixed rain or thunder soundscape at moderate volume. Use deep breathing or progressive relaxation. Keep a dream journal ready and review dreams in the morning with reflective prompts. We must be honest, not every culture uses storms in exactly the same way. And not every dream is a revelation. Some objections are straightforward. Correlation versus causation, cultural interpretation, and physiological variability. These limits matter, but even with caution, the cross-disciplinary overlap is striking. Texts describe incubation, sanctuaries manifest acoustic effects. Storms produce infrasonic energy, low frequencies alter human experience. And lab work shows sleep is malleable to pattern stimuli. The converging evidence makes storm sleep a compelling hypothesis worthy of more experimental investigation. Storm sleep reframes storms as more than weather. It suggests that ancient people were not merely passive recipients of nature's fury. They engineered conditions, architectural, ritual, botanical, and social, to turn the elements into a cognitive technology. Dream incubation sanctuaries, archaeoacoustic spaces, and the neurophysiology of low-frequency sound form a chain of plausibility. Storms could have been a predictable, exploitable force for altered states and social authority. We are left with a powerful image: a night when thunder spoke, a priest translated, and a community acted. The practice fused inner experience with outer event. The sky became a collaborator in social knowledge, whether or not we call that divine. What matters is that a human culture found a way to make sense of storms in ways that changed lives. If the idea that storms could shape minds and steer civilizations shocked you, hit subscribe now. Every week we unearth another hidden mechanism the past used to change the present. Join us and be the first to see the next discovery that rewrites what we thought we knew about human history. Tap the bell, your curiosity deserves answers.